Find out what a jewel she is. Maybe
Right.
we will.
The jewel in the lotus. Greetings, salutation, and as they say on many other planetary spheres, tennis smash. They don't say that. I just made that up. But tennis smash is a word. It's not a bad word, it's just a word, tennis smash. It's kind of like a exemplative. Oh, tennis smash. But that has little to do with our reality today because we are doing the star tetrahedron, the most amazing manifestation that is power and love, masculine and feminine. In the very beginning of creation, source from out of the void, as we know, emanated a vibration, and a vibration became energy, and energy became mass. And so that was then the upper triangulation of what we call power or action. But that wasn't enough because you can't do anything with just one thing. If you have a piece of paper and there's no black dots, there's no picture. And so Source simply mirrored the star tetrahedron. And just like when you look in a mirror, there's your left and right. Well, that's what Source did. And they created the lower triangulation, and that mirror is in power, in wisdom, and action. And it's really love, wisdom, the divine feminine. And as those two unified, they were no longer separate. They then became unified. That was the real mystery, because as they became unified, that's when the doorway in the center opened. And that doorway is a dodecahedron. And as source, as the breath of spirit, breath is life is literally a truth. As the breath of spirit flowed through, it touched the 12 facets of the dodecahedron and then became 12 rays, the 12 numbers and 12 sounds and 12 colors, and the 12 archangels of manifestation. And so everything is then based on 12. But the other, of course, magic is that when it then hit the facets of the star tetrahedron, power and love created light. That's what the Christ is. The Christ is the light, the perfect balance that then illuminates that projection. And so they're all then this unified geometry of creation. And then we were gifted the ability through free will to learn about good, bad, light, dark, masculine, and feminine, because it was polarized within our being. The body is from kind of grounded, mother. The spirit is then the power of source action. And then as we begin to marry the two together, we then can finally literally create the star tetrahedron within our aura, around, within, and through us. And as we well know, that then opens the sacred doorway within the heart. And through the dodecahedron, then those 12 aspects of creation stream forth. And then, of course, the mystery is with the focusing of mind, which is the divine masculine, light, and then the divine feminine of love, we weave those 12 qualities into our particular creation that we choose. And so we become great creator beings. And that's really where we're going on the planet. And as we've been creating more light and illumination, it has been, of course, illuminating the chaos. Nothing wrong with the chaos. It is simply that which is source, but still in a matrix of separation. Ignorance, we might call it. Nothing wrong, just ignorance. And we, in many of our incarnations long ago, have played within those ignorant qualities, realities, and we learned that we no longer want to manipulate or control or hurt or harm. that we want simply to love. And so we then begin to bring power and love together and unify it. And that then is the magic of where humanity is evolving to. The other, of course, beautiful quality, the 12 qualities that emanate from out of the dodecahedron, they're a waveform. That's what sound and color is. It's a waveform. But it's then the focusing of light, which is mind, holding mind attentive, and then the imagining of it in a certain quality that then literally collapses the waveform into a particle of manifestation. So that's what the Christ does. It literally takes the waveform of possibilities and then literally through attention and focus collapses it into what you believe and what you can imagine and what you can feel. Excuse me. So each of us is creating our reality. And for those who are creating chaos, that's their belief system. They believe that through manipulation and control and power and anger and frustration, they'll survive, they'll be better, they'll be happy, they'll own more, possess more, they'll be closer to, of course, maybe source or God, whatever you might like to call it. But again, as you do that, you then create karma. You have to come back and experience that same manipulation and control and anger and frustration and whatever you then in the past have emanated. And then it is then within your auric field. And then the divine part of you knows, I only want to love and to serve and to be good and gracious. But then from the lower quadrant of the aura, the lower three chakras mostly, then fear or worry or sadness or grief or anger or frustration, it emanates out and creates a reality. Recently did a very interesting session with a woman, and whenever I hear a name, of course, I see the individual, and the name, it illuminated this very almost ancient being of such amethyst grace and light blue of the divine qualities of the feminine, of music and art and creative joy, and the light apple greens of high intuition and even psychic abilities. But in all of her incarnations, she had never come out into the outer world. And so there was this sense that something's still wrong with Earth and being on Earth. I'll stay in the temple and a few people will come to me and they will, bask in these qualities that I share. But it wasn't going into the outer world. And that is a little bit of a true scenario for many of us upon this spiritual path, that we were highly illuminated, but didn't really walk on the earth and embrace that which is the unconscious, the emotion, the darkness. And so we come from out of those high estates and then are born into this lifetime where it can be challenging and even difficult. For her, she'd been abandoned, so she was given up for adoption, and she was then moved from home to home and from place to place, and then abusive father. And so all of that really abject darkness was then placed around this child. But we call it a child, but this is the most interesting thing. The soul is a hologram of perfection. And if you take a hologram and shatter it, the tiniest piece has the full essence of the hologram within it. That's why when the child is born, perfection is born. It's a hologram of the soul. We call it a child because that's the size of it, and that's the lexicon that we give when we, talk about that time frame. But it's the soul, literally the soul is living within that particular form. And with all those qualities, she was born with those qualities, the creative magic, the joy, the amethyst spirituality. But again, this lifetime was the time of let me experience darkness. And so all of these things were then put upon her, Baptist teachings. The other interesting thing that was going on is that even though she had all these highly illuminated qualities, there was at the crown chakra a tube, a very dark blue, almost purple, dark purple, which is religious programming, dogmatic religious programming. And that was then literally placed down into her crown chakra. And it was the Baptist that you're a sinner, that humans are no good, that you have to fight to survive, you're not good enough. All these amazing programs that so many people on our planet are given. I know in one way I was given that as a child, not because I had bad parents, it was just ignorance. And that happened to many of us. But this was really strong because she was resistant from so many incarnations to come out. So her soul said, okay, I'm really going to ramp up the, if you will, travail and the pain and suffering. And so now the individual, always afraid of toxic environments, afraid of toxicity in the world, afraid of feeling that there might be mold in the walls and look what the people are doing to the planet and can't find a home. And I very clearly illuminated and edified her for her that here is this divine soul that has all these amazing qualities, but below the diaphragm in the level of what we call the unconscious was this part of her that's a soul that was wrapped and shrouded in these feelings of loneliness and worthlessness and anger. And that was emanating out constantly. And she was having the most difficult time on the planet and fighting against it, and then moving from home to home and place to place, and believing that people didn't like her, and that she would be, sitting with them, and she would see them, and they would feel that, and they would begin to push her out, going on and on and on with what was happening. And I kept, again, pointing out over and over that it's simply the colored glasses that this part of you as child soul keeps looking through, that keeps projecting that out over and over again, so that finally you'll stop through so much pain and suffering and ask why. And so that was the grace of her soul that she was brought to me, because I could really see who she is. And of course, it reminded me very much of my lifetime and my incarnation. Again, so many of us who I've read and I see and work with, it's the same thing. We're very old, wise, illuminated beings, but illumination is not ascending up and out. It's mastering the final frontier, which is three-dimensional reality, embracing the darkness of emotion, and in total non-resistance, no judgment, simply falling through it as you taste it and experience what those qualities are like, but then find within all darkness something that wasn't loved, yourself. And because you are now bringing the light of the soul in, and you are literally embracing the darkness in non-resistance, you know what it feels like. You have tasted it, experienced it, and now you bring love. The darkness, like smoke, disappears. And you have mastered that particular emotion, so that when you see it or feel it or observe it in the world, you don't dislike it. You go, someone wasn't loved. And rather than trying to change them, which would be, again, manipulation or control, you simply allow that which you have brought forth to love yourself, the golden light of the soul, the Christ being you truly are. And as the living sunlight emanates from you, it weaves through their darkness in non-resistance, through that waveform of their beliefs, and finds the spark of the divine within them. And just like the sun, when it falls upon a seed, it bursts forth into life. That's what the Christ energy does. It doesn't try and change anything. It simply ignites the seed of that which is within all creation, source, God, oneness. And then in their timing, through their free will, if they choose to wake up, if not, just like this individual may need or want to choose more pain and suffering. It's all just our belief systems. We live in an ocean waveform of these 12 emanations of color, sound from source. It's literally streaming through you. We're living in this ocean of waveform. And whatever you believe or feel or focus your attention upon and hold dynamically with your imagination, it literally then begins to collapse the waveform into a particle of manifestation. But then that particle, they have found an atom, of course, is 99.999% space, and the electron, a fuzzy mass of thought, circling around space so fast it appears to be solid. And thus you meet it and create it and taste it and touch it and feel it and have this amazing experience on this most gracious planet and probably the whole universe, with oceans and sunsets and love and relationship, on and on. They say people wait in line to come to the planet to grow through embracing emotion, light and dark, and then become the master of creation. And then it moves ever into a fuller expression, because as you have now embraced the darkness, you begin to fully realize, as the star tetrahedron is established, that in fact everything is a waveform. And even the body is just a waveform being held in a molecular construct by the soul to hold and purpose itself within form for the joy of it. And then, like the highly illuminated avatar Sai Baba, you could simply move your body across time, space, even create one here and one there and do outrageous things of serving people and helping them, highly documented, just as Christ could show up in multiple places. The book, The Light of the Soul, which I have spoken about, Book 3 illuminates very clearly all of the extraordinary possibilities of levitation, of bilocation, of disappearing, when you have mastered the waveform of illusion through the Christ energy. And then you begin to realize, well, the whole universe is just consciousness. And because it's consciousness, then it becomes like a dream. When you dream at night, you can be here in one instant, and the next instant you could be in Israel, or you could be in Egypt, or you could be being chased by a lion in an instant. It's really what the universe is. It's just a waveform of consciousness. And once you have really begun to master it, you can simply place your consciousness anywhere in the universe and be there. It's how many different, quotes, alien species travel. Some have to use actual AI technology where they're able to create waveform vectors and move on them. That takes a little bit of time. But then the true master, the one that is the prism seer, you might say, truly understands that the whole field of creation is just consciousness. And then you can place your consciousness here or there or anywhere, because there's no place to go. Now, that's true ascension. You have so entered in and through form, the last frontier, the densest layer in the body of God, materiality, and you have embraced it and loved it and shown that it's just a waveform through your Christed star tetrahedron. Now, mind you, I'm not there yet, or else I'd be sitting beside you in your room with you, maybe having a bite of your supper with you. So, again, I'm still twice a day, very focused and disciplined, still honing and refining my consciousness to imagine and feel and experience the waveform. At the same time, know that from inside out, from the open doorway, the jewel in the lotus is the heart chakra. The jewel in the lotus is the star tetrahedron, which then has at the very center the dodecahedron. And what, again, emanates through is spirit breath. God, source, oneness, the creative breath of consciousness. Because you are now the master of that day by day, bit by bit, your life becomes filled with grace, with beauty, with prosperity, with health. I know that when I was much younger in my early years, I took allergy shots for almost 14 years. I was allergic to anything you can imagine. Cat, hay, grass. Didn't matter. But it was just I was allergic through interior dislike within. I was allergic to life and relationship with this little boy, which is, again, just the soul in smaller holographic imagery. We have to move away from thinking, well, it's this child. No, it's the soul in 0 to 7, smaller holographic imagery. And what is the qualities you see of that illuminated soul? Joy and creativity, imagination, adventure, and love, excitement, enthusiasm. I have a cousin who has a probably 6-month-old child now, one of those beings that are coming through that is highly illuminated and quite amazing. And it experiences such joy and such magic and such love. It's just so yummy. You just want to eat it up. But that's what a soul is. And then when you have, of course, mastered the darkness, emotions, you literally are like a child. Everything is adventurous and fun and exciting and enthusiastic, and you just love it. Doesn't matter if it looks dark or if it's chaos. It's like you truly feel and know what's inside of it. Consciousness, light, source, playing a part, putting on a mask, so it can grow an adventure. Bravo. All gets Oscars. So it becomes a very relaxing and beautiful and peaceful reality. You're no longer looking for anything. You truly realize, I am God. Not, oh, well, where is it? Where's God? Where's Source? Where is it? You finally have opened the door within, and your realization is, I'm no longer looking. I am God. And that's again what the gentleman Jesus, he kept saying, I am God. Not the only and big cooker that created the universe, but literally in vibrational union with that quality. It was literally breathing through him. I am the doorway, another one of his wonderful sayings. I am the light, another one. All these little memes and aphorisms that would be wonderful on your iPhone. I am the light. But of course, then the religious ideation, the people who were still ignorant, they took all of those wonderful thoughts and ideas and they made then religious dogma. And if you follow this particular pathway and if you do this, we can lead you to that feeling. But we'd like to have your money and your power first, if you don't mind. Just, again, they were playing the part they needed to play. Those who needed to experience their manipulation control, they played along and everyone is learning and growing something. There was nothing wrong with the religions. There's nothing wrong with the religions today. It's all just growing and learning experiences. Individual holograms of source playing a part to gather information about what are the possibilities of creation. What can I possibly imagine? Well, how can I experience that? And when you've been around for what, close to 15 billion years in this particular universe, I was doing some writing and I was kind of feeling into, well, here is this universe, but I bet we're but a concentric ring of another emanation. So something before and something before that, just ongoing concentric rings of manifestation, of new doorways of the divine experiencing. And then you begin to contemplate, well, what is this void thing? And that's when your mind goes glitch. You can't wrap your head around that one. What is it? It's the mystery. As you know, all the great American Indian shamans say, that's the mystery. It's a mystery, all right. But at the same time, we get to live the mystery with when we learn to love and we begin to open the doorway to that co-creation with that breath of life. We can feel the mystery and we can know that, well, I can create it to be this way or that way. But an even deeper realization, we come to understand that every moment, my beliefs and my feelings and my thoughts, they're literally collapsing the waveform into my reality. I'm creating it. Nothing has ever happened to me. No one is in my space bothering me. I'm creating them. I'm not having issues with my parents or my siblings or the bank. I'm creating it. That's a big one. And this particular person had more than a little bit of difficulty going there because it was so blatant in her life, so in her face, all these things happening. But that was, again, also her resistance. And I said, I can give you the key. If you meditate twice a day and first of all become grounded because you're a space cadet, all of your energy is up here. Open the base of the spine and begin to honor the body and find out that if the body isn't grounded, it feels fear, just as you would pull a tree out of the earth. There'd be a subtle feeling of fear within the tree. I'm going to die now. Not a conscious, but a little subtle quirk of grounding literally unifies the body back with earth. So I said, if you literally hold your attention at the base of the spine and feel that chakra opening and you begin to breathe and create these golden tendrils of living light, just like mushroom have mycelium that can literally switch information from forest to forest. Information, pathways, that's what mycelium is. Connect with Mother Earth and be grounded and be safe, then open the crown chakra and allow the soul, divine and sacred, golden liquid light to flow through. And I said, I'll give you a money back guarantee that it will change you and make you whole. But I said, it also takes discipline and dedication. And then there was well, my environments aren't safe. I'm having a difficult time a place to live and I'm running out of money. And, the mind started casting out these beliefs. It's difficult, it's challenging, I can't do it. But that's, again, the chaos of the world. That is this plug in her head that said, you're worthless. I said, reach up with angelic hands and realize it's there and take it out. And when you begin to go back to that thought, stop. Come back to this divine child, the soul within, bring love. and everything will change. You will master the illusion of darkness and separation. Pretty dang exciting, my friends, that we have that we clearly, you and I know that, and we live that, and we breathe that. Speaking of breathe, I have a new technique for you. We're no longer going to breathe, and you will definitely become spirit. No. I have my funny pants on today. Forget that one. We're going to breathe, but we're going to open and literally feel from the interior doorway the breath of spirit arising forth. It's just, you begin to feel it. It's just so filled with magic and so filled with visceral life that you're breathing. And as you then, you're breathing in, and here comes this from out of the open doorway. And then your exhale, that's what collapses this breath of spirit into golden liquid living sunlight that you see and feel within every cell and tissue and bone, and then through your aura, and then out into the world. I am the light. Believe it, and it shall be so. That's interesting. I like that. I'm going to patent that one. You can't use that one unless I get 50 cents from you. I'm kidding. So I'm going to take you through the divine breath. Very simple. We close our eyes and feel the body relaxing. Oh, I'm 99.99999% space. I'm going to let go and feel breath and openness and space within my body. And then I'll bring my attention, consciousness, to the magic doorway within my heart, and it's already open. And as I'm breathing in, it's really source breathing out. And the breath of spirit streaming into this dimension. And then we collapse it through attention and focus on the exhale into golden, sparkling, effervescent light. I am the light. I am light, human formed in a dimension of exquisite beauty and grace. And my breath feeds and nourishes this dimension. I bring light to earth. I am the living sun. The very visceral feeling of breathing in, but source flowing to become sparkling and effervescent, liquid golden light. I am the breath of life. I am the open doorway. I bring light to earth. My body is earth. I can feed it from inside out and then share sunlit radiance. So simple, breath. The focusing of mind, attention, and imagination creates reality. I collapse the waveform of breath into golden, liquid, living light. With each meditation, I am honing and training my mind to be the silent instrument of focus, attention upon the choice of my imagination. My imagination is love and grace and prosperity and peace and joy and sharing and a world of beauty for all. I don't demand it. I simply imagine and it will be so. Creator being I am. Another deep, deep breath, summoning source from the open doorway, visceral and real, to become the exhalation of liquid living light. And then very easily now, slowly coming back into the now, reforming my body from space into grounded reality. I appear. Poof, there he is. So I'll walk you through the mystical creation of the star tetrahedron. I invite you to begin by literally sitting at the open doorway of Source Oneness and observing beneath you the triangulation of divine mother, feminine love, literally touching and at one with Mother Earth. And then from there, we'll imagine in, bring in the crown chakra of the rotating clockwise divine masculine, unified as the light of the Christ emanation. So let's close the eyes and feel the body relaxing. Once again, allowing the body to come back into waveform of space. And from the open doorway, breath is arising forth. And then I image in, imagine beneath me, the divine feminine of imagination and love. Gently moving right to left, right to left. Above me, I image in the divine masculine, moving left to right. illuminating the open doorway from which Sorth breathes ever more profoundly into this dimension. And I will join with you, and we will create light for the love and joy of the planet. We bring light to Earth. Breathe and observe the triangulation. I am the living light. And then very easily now, transitioning from waveform to particle reality. So I would encourage you in your next meditation to see if you can feel every particle within the room, literally breathing and formulating the star and the breath with you, because every atom is breathing. It's just, can my perceptions expand enough to welcome the entire environment into my breath and my meditation? So see how that feels and let me know, my friends. Thank you very much for playing, and we will see you sooner than later. Enjoy particle manifestation. It's a blast.